Good morning, everyone. It's not often I can say I'm with a live action hero. I, you know, I have these flashbacks of my kids with their live action heroes. So I feel, here you are, a live action hero. I am with John Davis, and he has lived his life as an action hero. He's a professional fight director, a stuntman for stage and screen, an artistic director of 3 regional theme parks, a sword fighting comedian. I have a funny story about that. A motivational speaker, an author, a coach, and he did all of that after a debilitating back injury that left you paralyzed.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, I certainly did.
so that is quite inspirational, all on its own. And after September 11th, 2001, you have been bringing your inspirational message out there. You've visited 16 countries around the world.
16 countries with the USO, but I've
Okay.
been I've been to a total of 30 countries
Wow.
with speaking and the USO.
So I'm honored, I have to say, to meet you because right off the bat, and I read your bio because I didn't want to really miss anything, and my memory ain't that great in the morning. I'd like to say without a whole lot of
Well,
coffee.
we
Those
all
who
we all need to
watched,
get our coffee. You see how my
right?
mug is completely empty right now,
Oh
right?
well, we should have let you fill up before. But
I know
those who
I just emptied it before.
Oh, okay. Well, so sorry, mine is going. But those who know me know I need my coffee. Um, and in fact,
Amen.
those who know me can't believe that I try and do this at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Um, so I laugh. My daughter, who probably is not watching, and in fact will probably call me in the middle of this because she always forgets. She went to Pace University in New York, and her freshman year as an actress had to do stage combat.
Oh,
Her brothers liked to make fun of her, as they were at the University of Michigan in intense classes. But her intense class, she came out and would say, like, this stage combat class, this fighting class was really hard. So as
I would love to know who her teacher was. I may know them.
well, you know what? I'll have to get back to you because I
Yeah.
remember he was in the military.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
was
but
in the military, and he was
I know a lot of stage combat teachers because I was a stage combat teacher at Oberlin through the Society of American
oh,
Fight
she
Directors.
applied there.
Oh, did she really? Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to tell you, he was known to be a really tough guy. And
Hmm.
one day her blood sugar, she's gonna love that I'm telling this story. Her blood sugar dropped and she got really dizzy in class. And he was just known as this really tough guy. But he took her to like the hospital and called me, and she saw this whole other side of him. And I said, this tough guy has got a really soft side too.
I will tell you from experience that most of the stuntmen, most of the fight directors that I know are all these giant, big-hearted teddy bears
Yeah.
who are really only doing it because it's cool.
Oh, it
Right?
was, I have to tell you, I laughed at her brothers who were making fun of her because I thought it was like the coolest class ever. I mean,
Oh,
she had
totally.
waited so long to get into, acting in college, and, freshman year, you get, acting for this or that, and she gets this combat class. And I thought, yes, this is what
Oh,
you've
it's
been waiting for. Like, this is it.
so much fun. Those classes are so much fun. It's really interesting because you go into those classes and you feel like an idiot when you go into classes
Oh.
because you're doing things that your body has never done
Mhm.
before. But when you get it, you're suddenly like, wow, that was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I think the next semester she had like flying through the air, like trapeze, those
Trapeze.
trapeze, and like I said, oh my God, she's now like in the circus.
Was that in her stage combat class?
That it was just like a different semester, a
Okay.
different class,
So
so
like
they
a
had different.
circus skills class or
Yeah,
something
I
like
mean, it was cool. But anyway, enough about her. Let's
that.
talk about
Well,
you.
she sounds interesting. We should bring
Well,
her up.
no, Yeah, she won't come on, she'll interrupt this, but in any case, I have to say, like, paralyzed to performing 4,000 live sword fighting shows. Tell me about your life. I think I have to ask this general huge question because it, it sounds like a fabulous, interesting life, but also huge obstacle.
Well, what's interesting. That obstacle was what made me have a fabulous and interesting life. I was 22 years old. I was already doing stage combat. I was already doing fight direction. I had worked with two of the top fight directors in the world, and they were giving me their training for free because they liked me and they thought I had talent. And a friend of mine, and I say friend because he called me up out of the blue and asked me to help him unload a van full of very very heavy things, and I'm not sure how friendly that was, but I drove out to his house. He was a professional potter, and he made beautiful pottery, and he had a van full of 80-pound boxes of clay, and I had to go out and help him unload this. Now at this point, like I said, I was in martial arts, and I was really fit, and I was strong and muscular, and really I was a stuntman. I was very proud. So I just looked at it as another workout. So I went out to his house. I climbed up in the van, and the very first box I picked it up and I twisted to take it out of the body, and my upper body separated from my lower body. And I did this gesture. I don't think you can see it in the camera there, but this is my upper spine, this is my lower spine, and my pelvis, and it basically fell off and pinched off the spinal column. And they took me to the hospital, and they informed me I had a condition known as spina bifida occulta. And I said Gesundheit because I had no idea what that was, right? And they said, yeah, you have a three vertebrae that never formed properly at birth, and with the extra weight and the twisting motion, you basically just disconnected the upper half of your body.
My
And
God.
doctor told me that day, I can see it like it was a video. He said, you will never have a physical career. You need to start looking at sedentary lifestyle now, because your body, no matter what we do, you will never be a stuntman, a fight director, and all the things you want to be, and what you are already. So you go through your dark hole. You go through the moment of wanting to kill yourself, and through, because you've built your dream up on one giant thing, and then this thing happens. And
Yeah,
someone,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead. Someone came into my hospital room and handed me a book, and the book was called The Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee. Not the book you'd expect, right? But that book was written. Most people don't know this, but that book was written. It's still the number one selling martial arts book on earth. But that book was written when Bruce Lee was in traction in a hospital and had just been told he would never do martial arts or lift weights again. And every movie that we know Bruce Lee for in the States, anyway, what happened after that book was written.
wow.
So, so I'm reading this book, and I came across this whole section about basically mental flexibility, about being like water, and I kind of took it to heart, and I started working my way. And what I did was in studying mental flexibility, I eventually went on and I started studying how the brain works, and the processes that we go through to achieve anything in our life. And I created this 5F system that I use now. But um, what happened from that moment is I started leveraging every present moment I had. So I got out of my future, I got out of my past, and I said, right here, right now, I have a goal for the future, but right here, right now, I'm going to make this moment successful. And for the next month, for the first month, my first success that I was aiming for was being able to sit up. And I started with my toes. And I did my toes one day, and then I did my ankle the next day. I slowly started bringing my body back. And chiropractors were coming in and manipulating my spine. They wanted to put pins in my back, but I told them that they're not allowed to put pins in my back, because if I had pins in my back, I can't do high falls and I can't do shoulder rolls, because it makes the rigid part of your back, which will make your back break. So I told them no. So they came in and they just started manipulating. I started doing just flexing my lower back muscles.
What was your, at this point, your body? Were you able to walk?
The first 30 days, I was not able to walk at all.
Okay.
I,
Would you be able to walk again? What was the
they didn't know.
okay.
They didn't know when the spinal cord got pinched off. They didn't know whether I had deadened parts of it, whether I had severed parts of it. They didn't know
Okay.
everything that was going on.
Okay.
Um, but I slowly was able to get my toes to move, and that was a big day. That was a big
Right.
day, right?
Right. Well, that's why I'm trying to understand like exactly your
Yeah,
body functions at this
yeah.
point.
And then at day 30, I actually was able to push myself up to a seated position.
Okay.
My legs were still not
I
functioning.
mean, at this point, I mean, I mean, to think about what your career would be, to me, would be the last thing in the world. To me, it would just be about functioning.
Well, I had a dream, and I mean it was my dream to do that work. And when you're in a dark place like that, the first thing you have to do is look at the light, look for the light,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so the light for me was actually my goals, what I wanted to do, and I couldn't set my goals too low, or my recovery would have been slower. I had to set for a big goal. I had to push for the largest one I could get.
Mhm.
And so after 30 days, I was able to get myself to a seated position. It took about another month, and I was able to stand and stay standing.
Mhm.
And at a year, I was able to have a functioning life. And at a year and 6 months, I jumped off a 3-story tower into a fall pad, right? Which is an interesting thing, by the way. But
What was that? I mean, I have to ask, and so many probably have asked you this. Two questions I'll ask. What was that like for you? And what was that like for those who had been part of your um, recovery with you?
well,
Meaning your
for me,
friends, your loved ones, you know.
it was twofold. Number one, um, it was a huge triumphant day, and I knew that I was going up there, and I knew that I was going to jump off that tower, and I knew I was going to land on a big giant cushion, and it was going to be great. You
Mhm.
know, the other side of me was saying you could go off this tower and you could break your back.
Okay.
You could be done. This could end you. But when you're standing on top of a tower, you don't focus on on the ground beside the pad. You focus on the pad. You focus on where you want to land. So I'm focused on the positive outcome, not the negative outcome. So the
Mhm.
more I stayed focused on my positive landing,
Right.
the less the other side went away. Now the people who were with me, I'm sure that they had their fears and their negative thoughts about what I was doing, but none of them showed me. All of them were my support system because they knew that's what I wanted. They knew there was nothing going to stop me at that point because
Mhm.
my dream was that big and I was doing it and they were there to support me. But
Mhm.
they were really good friends in the fact that they didn't try to talk me out of it.
Yeah.
They really let me do what I wanted to do. So it was excellent. And then I went on to do over 4,000 live comedy sword fighting stunt shows all over the world after that.
I have to reiterate something. I wrote it down as you were talking. So I looked down. You said you focus on the positive and the landing. And I think that's such a something that can be used not when you're jumping off a building, by the way, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
most of us don't do that. I know that today I'm not going to do that, but I love that saying.
Mm,
Um, just focus on the landing and the
yeah.
positive, and I am going to keep that in mind. Um, and so I thank you for that
Oh, you're
because
welcome.
I think that we've had a hard year. I don't think this year is going to be less hard. I'm one of those people that the glass is half full, and always, and so I look at the positive, but I think it's really important to look at the landing, like where
Right.
and where you want to go. And so I really, I thank you for that message this
Well,
morning. And
let me add to that message then. You can focus on your landing, but you have to get yourself out of the mindset that you have to get to it
mhm,
and realize that you only live in one moment. And this one moment that you live is where you stack present moment small successes. because this moment is the only moment that you consciously have, right?
Yeah.
And that future success, when you realize it, is going to be in your present moment. So the thing is, what you do here and now in the I am moment is what brings that success to you so it can surround you.
Mm-hmm.
So the deal is you don't have to expect the giant thing to appear magically in this
Mm-hmm.
moment. The deal is you have to make small present moment successes that are in alignment with that outcome so that it can come to you. Your success is coming to you. You don't have to get to it.
So I've been remiss already, and so I want to stick it in right here, especially because I think it's so important. Is um, John is um, a corporate action hero at this point, not just an action hero. And you can find him at corporateactionhero.com. Um, and I think, for me right now, he's really what that means, a corporate action hero, is that you can talk to him, listen to his coaching experience, gain wisdom from him, and go to his website. And I throw that little marketing message in there because I would be remiss not to. But
Well,
um,
and I'm a keynote speaker, but mainly right now I'm a motivational speaker. And what I find is a lot of companies will bring in a motivational speaker when times are good, but people need motivation when times are bad. So,
it's funny that, and really, I said to you that I was already up this morning and things, I think when I say, we've had a rough year, I'm so proud of my clients for all that they've done, but we're not, just because the vaccine's out there or just because we're moving around a little bit, we're not out of it. And it's going to be a long time. And you're absolutely right. We need that motivation. We need to keep going. And all too often we do things in reward or in good times. And we do need to be reminded, like, you know, I just said to a therapist client of mine, I think we need to do a segment on Zoom fatigue. People think like, oh, the vaccine is here. And so, but we still have Zoom fatigue. I mean, here we are
mm,
on Zoom.
well,
And
but hang on. There are benefits to Zoom because right now
oh,
I'm wearing sweatpants and slippers.
oh,
Right? Right?
huge
Huge benefits.
benefits, and but I think, the benefits and the fatigue, are a
Mm.
conversation. And I think like the other component, is that you get to see a lot more people and be around a lot more people.
Right.
And I
Well,
think that's what's important.
and when COVID hit, my job now as a corporate speaker, my job literally is to go into small rooms with large amounts of people who don't wear masks, right? So my business kind of went kaplooey right, last
Right,
year, right? But I could look at that as an obstacle that's going to stop me, or I could look at that as an opportunity that's going to let me grow. And what I
right,
did was I upped my video game. I got this beautiful green screen behind me, right? I got the lighting here. I got all the video stuff, right? I started
right,
creating that. I started putting out daily motivational videos on YouTube and on my website. I started creating online courses, which aren't going to be done for a little while because I'm doing them, taking the time doing them right. Um,
right.
but I started doing virtual programs as well. So when COVID ends, I'm going to go back to having live programs. I'm going to have virtual programs. I'm going to have online
Right.
courses. I'm going to have my book will be finished, right? And so
But
it's the best.
that's just it. And I love that you're saying that because I want people to hear that. That is, if ever there is a silver lining, I say it all the time, the beauty of COVID, which there haven't been all that many things, but this is what people can learn from one another, and it's not too late. And that is, how do I take what's happened to me in this year and make good out of it? And we've seen it in retailers who brought themselves online and website. We've seen it with, coach in the coaching world, where you're right, you're supposed to stand in a convention hall, in a hotel ballroom, in a, at a trade show, wherever, in a boardroom, and be in front of people. And you know you could have said, okay, well, I guess I'm done for the year, or what do I do? And now, if you could have spoken to 500 people, now you can speak to 1,000, I say.
And I'll tell you an interesting thing about virtual programs as opposed to live programs. In live programs, I walk on stage and I have 1,000 people in front of me, and I'm looking around the audience like this, trying to make contact.
Mm-hmm.
On Zoom, I'm looking right in the camera and I'm talking to you directly. I'm talking to each
Right.
individual person directly. So I can actually make more impact on a Zoom call than I can on a stage, really. Now,
Right.
I use whips and nunchucks and all kinds of crazy things in my speeches. And so seeing me live is definitely an amazing experience, right? But the content is the same virtual and live, right? So what I've been able to do is I've been able to leverage all of that live material that I have on really good footage, and I pepper it through my virtual program. So they're
I
seeing
love
the,
that.
and they're seeing both, right? And on a production level, it really helps during a live program to break up the talking head.
Yeah.
Suddenly have a video, and then of course the video has laughter in it and applause in it. So that really helps my virtual program as well. It really makes for a real fun experience.
I
So
love that. Well, you have to come back and do some stunts, whether, I had a magician on, and he got on and he's like, well, I wasn't really, I guess I didn't think about it. I wasn't set up. I'm like, well, you need to come back.
well, it's hard. It's
I
hard
need
for
some,
me.
I need some
It's
magic.
with the stuff that I do with whips and nunchucks. It's hard to do in a little studio space like
Uh-huh.
this. That's why I use video clips. If you go to my website, you can see
Well,
lots of video clips.
we'll get those up. Is there anything I haven't brought up in just our little bit of time left? I want people to go and they should check out your video clips and see, exactly what you do, because it's fun. Corporateactionhero.com. I
Well,
love it.
I do. One of the things that I teach is what I call the 5 F's of achievement, and it helps you go through your process of achieving more in your life. Now, what I'd like to do for your audience today is I'd like to give them a free workbook called the 5F workbook. And I want to say, when I say free, I mean free. That means they're going to get a link and they can go there and download it without giving me anything, not even an email address. It's a free. I'm good to my word, right? And so I want to make sure that they go and they can get this. This is an opportunity for you to go through your own 5F process. There's videos there that you can go through and look at to help support the material, and come out the other side and use this momentum to move forward and go into something better.
What what is 5F?
When I was figuring out my process of how to get out of that bed, I came up with the 5F process, which is how to hack your fight or flight response so that you can achieve
Oh,
more. And it's fearlessly focus with faith, follow through with flexibility.
I love it.
And
Okay. I
and
want
that
to,
whole that
yeah,
workbook will show you the process.
I love it. So it is a Wednesday. It's St. Patrick's Day.
I hate to tell you.
Instead of green beer, I say, get out of your own way. grow,
Yeah, my
grow.
grandfather is named James Quinn. He was literally a red-haired, parted down the middle, little Irishman, and yeah,
Okay, well,
absolutely.
drink your green beer then.
I don't drink beer. I'm gluten free.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I say, um, definitely go to corporateactionhero.com. You will love what you see there. It's been so much fun to meet you. Take advantage of the free workbook today. And I want you to come back, keep me posted
I
on
will.
all the things going on, especially there will be, I think end of 2021, sooner maybe we'll all be seeing live shows again. It will
I
be,
completely agree with you.
I think we're getting closer. They're going to look different. Um,
I
but I
think
think we're getting there.
certain aspects will remain. We'll do a lot more virtual things, but I think
Yeah.
in the end it'll all be for the best. I think.
Yeah. I think it's going to be amazing, and we're going to get there. So,
Okay.
all right. Well,
I
thank you
agree.
so much. Thanks for being
Thank
here
you.
this morning. All
Thank you. Have a
right.
great day, everyone.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.